Okay, it's Monday, February 2nd. Interesting day in the market. We had some hiccups this morning with George's data feed, or something was going on. We're not really sure what. So, luckily, somebody pointed that out. He was able to get it resolved and fixed. But let's get into it.
Yeah, no, it was nice. Somebody had noticed, but it was like my 9:30 candle. I think the actual opening candle never transitioned to the 9:35 candle, so it just kept going. So it was a really big candle. And the guy's like, "I think something's wrong with your data."
Yeah, I think
Sure
that was
enough,
I think that was Ollie.
yeah, like sure enough, I'm like, well, let me just turn everything off and reset it. Of course, it was fine. We had 10 o'clock news and there weren't anything to go. But yeah, we can kind of walk through it here. So both indices had the same general pre-market thing that was occurring simultaneously. So in the pre-market, both of them had, well, I probably don't even need to blow up individually because there's not going to be a whole lot to say today. So both had a pre-market set of targets. The ES ended right about here around 59, so 69.59. And the NQ was ending right around 586. So as we started our day off, both of them had pretty much a decent just run up and through that particular series. And the way that we incorporate the targets and pullbacks and decision points and so forth, again, we were starting the day right at second target of the NQ and pretty much second target of the ES. So this was a fantastic day for the bot that you've designed, Bob.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was like, this is a perfect day because the one thing that we had mentioned, and again, from a manual trading perspective, I would prefer the market, come back to you in some respects, even if you're going to take it long. And obviously it never did that. But we had said kind of in our pre-meeting around 9:15, 9:20, is that there's nothing. So if I like highlighted the space here on the ES, like there's nothing between rubber band and the decision point. Actually, it was a decision zone. It's kind of between 95 and 88. I was like, there's nothing that's happening information-wise that the market really cares about. So if we do get above the rubber band, that was fine. And you had to be, Johnny on the spot today, because if you see, I'll go ahead and blow this one up actually, because it did happen. You just had to be aware of it and take advantage of it very quickly. So as this candle here at 9:35 was closing, it closed above our rubber band, and the 9:40 candle did retest, only with a wick back to the rubber band itself, which is always the most aggressive kind of add in or potentially just get in, depends on whether or not you've already gotten in, to continue to the next series of targets. However, today we didn't have targets, not till much later, which we'll get into. But we knew that there's just nothing. It's just a hollow space of they don't care, frankly, and they didn't. And they just ran that thing all the way up right into the decision zone. And we just waited and waited and waited. And I gave finally a has to hold up here at 10:35. I said, so long as this level holds, then we'll come back to test at least the top of the decision point. And then as we got here, I said, okay, well, folks, guess what? Now they're giving us a hurdle to the downside. So here at 10:50, they gave a hurdle to the downside. So seeing as it didn't get high enough to the has to hold, I didn't get in personally. So it just didn't get close enough to my entries. I had them sitting there waiting, but never got there. And then as it came down to the hurdle, I said, well, I couldn't catch it short, so let's go ahead and take it long. So my only ES trade, actually, I think it was my only trade period. It was. I didn't take any NQ trades at all today. My only ES trade was right here, right at the hurdle. So I took it long for these targets up here. So it worked out absolutely phenomenal, honestly, given what we started the morning off with. And it's a fair number of points. So 69.88, where we posted the hurdle, I had mentioned what? Do you recall? I was telling people conservatively, like get out around 7,004. and it went to 4.5 and then dropped, and then kind of tested the top of that decision zone again, and then ultimately did achieve the targets that we laid out. I don't think it barely missed second target. But that's okay. It was still a lot of points. So 88 all the way to 15, you know, that's 30 points. Not bad. Not bad. And then NQ, let's blow that guy up here. It was very similar. Not a lot different. Like we mentioned, you know, we already had pre-market action. And the only thing of any reference after the initial series was kind of taking place, I'd kind of gone back into the bag of information from days past. I said, well, the only thing that's up here that's of any real weight is that this, so that's why I posted it way back here in the early hours of the morning. I wanted people to understand that this was the decision point on the NQ around 647 that took, let's go ahead and scan back here so people can see this. But that was the decision point from Sunday that took them down, which we didn't post because this was all Sunday evening price action. But that's what they had to break. So if you literally drew a line all the way back here, around that 647, you can see right here at this 1940 candle, like what does it do? It's right nearly like within a point of that 647. And again, they had targets all down here, but again, that was all nighttime, Sunday evening stuff. So I'd said, look, all that's left is that they have to just come back up and break that decision point that they, got themselves down there with. Otherwise, same thing. That was it. Like that was the only thing between here and the upside. And then it simultaneously had the same setup. It too had a miner has to hold above us later in the, late morning. And then it gave a hurdle. So like, again, you can kind of see the similarities here between the NQ and the ES. And then it was becoming obvious from just how the price action was working. I'd given everybody the heads up. I said, look, NQ is kind of leading the ES right now. So if the NQ reaches, these targets, that's fine, but it's likely going to reverse off of, and it was hard to tell at the time, it was going to be either target one or target two. I said, so just watch the ES. And if it's struggling to get through the hurdle, so it right here at 11:10, it's like if it's struggling to get through its hurdle, then that'll be likely the level that the NQ is going to use. And again, I don't care for this. I don't like counter trend trading first target. It doesn't generally work that way. Not with any like high level of efficiency. So I don't care for people to do that necessarily. But otherwise, it was the same thing. Like as soon as it got back up on top of the hurdle, what did it do? It came back and retested it again, right there, 1150. So no issues. Like you could still take it long after it tagged, target, came back and retested. So it was still perfectly valid to go up a little higher. But even still, you had the miner has to hold, kind of holding you up. So yeah, that was it. That's for the day.
Yep, that's about all she wrote. Not more to add, really. We'll see what tomorrow brings.
Again, this was a good day for extreme. I had a guy. He messaged me separately, and he's just like, "Am I missing something?" Because it was one of those days that I just had nothing to say. I was like, "There's very little to talk about because they've already blown through everything." Had we gotten any kind of pullback whatsoever, even after they went through the first scenario, then great. We'll have a whole conversation surrounding it and actually bring in maybe support or it has to hold or something. But again, I can't make it up. The market kind of has to give it to us. And so I told him, I was like, no, you missed nothing. It was a perfectly fine day. Just, you had to wait a lot. Or again, it's one of those mornings like if I woke up and literally clicked buy, sure, you did great. But I don't know of a lot of real traders who do that.
Okay, well, that's a wrap, and guess we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Hey guys, that's right. Come join us, hang out with us in the room, and get a free day or free 7-day trial.